So question 2, database programming. The database payments DB contains the information of the staff members of a restaurant. The database contains 2 tables, namely TBL employees and TBL payments, with data specifically related to the year 2017. So that was the scenario that was given. Then they give you some instructions. The data pages attached at the end of the question paper provide information on the design of the database and its contents. Now, guys, just listen to me on this point, right? When I looked at this, they show you the table. So here is the table, right? One second, I'm just trying to get right. So here is the table. Okay, for some reason I'm not able to annotate. Okay, doesn't matter. This is the table that they give to you. You've got the table and they give you data inside of the table. Please don't make assumptions on anything. Where they say the data pages attached at the end of the question paper provides information on the design. If I was doing this, I would tear off those page or 2 pages, whatever it is, and I'd have that in front of me. I want to see the structure of the table. I really want to see the structure of the table. So this is what they are saying. There's the one page here, and this is the other page. I really want to know this information. So here it is, employee numbers and auto number. Surname text, first name text, ID number text. Permanent is Boolean, so I'm expecting true or false. And children is a number. Okay, so that is key information you must know. Don't take that for granted. And also know the name of the fields. The second table, it's got payment number. It's got employee number, payment date. Payment date is of type date time. So immediately I know when I refer to something here, I may need a hash for payment date. Gross salary is currency, deductions is currency. Okay, so that gives me an idea of what fields I'm dealing with. And the last thing I want to know is what is linking my 2 tables. So the link is the employee number in TBL employees, and I've got TBL payments. There's also an employee number. So the linking field between the 2 tables is employee number. Critical information you have to know, right? So having gone over that, now we can go back up, right? And let's see what they tell us. Do the following. Open that project, enter your exam number as a comment. Please remember that's what's going to be required. Compile and execute, right? So what you will notice, there's the program here. If I compile it, it will run. There shouldn't be any errors. They've connected the table dynamically. Can you see? It's a dynamic connection, which means it's already connecting and showing me data inside of the table. If you want to know how to connect the table dynamically, just look at the code that they've used. Right? Having done that, they even tell you the restore. You can restore the database in case you delete something. They allow you to restore the database. Okay, they don't want you to change any of their code. Right, so I think we're ready to start with 2.1. 25 marks. Right, there's 25 marks here, and I think these are marks that you should be achieving. Right, so if we look at the first one, display all. So that's a giveaway. Display all means select star. So immediately I know I'm writing a select statement. So display all details of employees in TBL employees. You have to read your question carefully to know the name of the table. It was TBL employees, sorted alphabetically according to the surname field. So here you're going to say select star from TBL employees. Make sure you get the spelling right. From TBL employees with an S. And it wants sorting. There's no conditions, there's no restrictions. So then we just sorting means order by. And what do we want to order by? The surname field. They can trick you. Sometimes they'll say surname, but if you look, the actual field name could be something else. So here it is order by surname. Okay, so I thought that was a nice, easy way to start. Some of you may have put the ASC, right? You can have that, but remember by default, it's not required. So it was a nice way to start the question, 3 marks. You should have had no problems getting those 3 marks. Let's look at 212. Display, again, display. That immediately tells me it's a select statement. So what do I want to display? Surname, first name, and the number of children of all permanent employees. So I only want to display these for the permanent employees, and I want to display those with more than 3 children. Okay, so this is a little more information that we have to figure out. So I want the surname, first name, and number of children. So in my field, surname, there's a field called first name, and there's a field called children that tells me the number of children. So here I'm going to say select. So I want the surname, which is called surname. I want the first name. Excuse me. I want the first name. And I want the number of children, and the field is called children. That is why I told you, always understand your table structure properly. So that's what I want to display. And then the compulsory part requires from. From which table is this? This is from the employee table. So we're going to say from TBL employees, PLOYEES, from TBL employees. So you should have had that at least. That's the minimum. That's going to give you half the marks. And then now they are saying of all the permanent employees. So there's a restriction here. So I'm only looking for permanent employees. I'm only looking for these guys. Permanent. Remember, that was a Boolean field. So I'm going to say where, and my field is permanent. So where permanent equals true, because it's Boolean, right? So that's the first part. Permanent employees with more than 3 children. So how do I know the number of children? Well, that I need to look at the children field. So I'm going to say and, because I want both the conditions to be true, and children must be greater than. Children should be greater than 3. So that's what you're looking at. You're looking at having something like that for 5 marks. These are the fields I want from that table. It's only one table, and I've got two conditions that need to be satisfied. Permanent employees, Boolean variable, and more than 3 children. So a double condition was required for that question. Please check to see how many marks you possibly could get based on what you've done. The next one, it says display. So again, that's a select statement. I want the payment number and I want the ID number of all employees who were paid on a certain date. Who were paid on a certain date. So that is a restriction. Restriction means that's a where clause. Okay, so the next thing I'm keen here is to identify where is payment number, which table am I getting payment number from? Where's my table again? Okay, let's look at this. So I want the payment number. There's the payment number. And I want the ID number. But the ID number is not in that table. The ID number is in the other table. So immediately I'm drawing information from two tables. I'm pulling out information from two tables, and my join, you have to know the join is on the employee number. So that's where my join is. Okay, so let's at least put that into place. Can you see I'm scrolling up and down? But if I had the tables in front of me, which you should have, that's going to make your life a lot easier. So we're going to say select. Right, so I want the payment number. The field is called payment number. And the second field I wanted, that field is called ID number. Make sure you get the spelling of the field names correct. I'm not reading the question, and because it says ID number here, I'm putting ID number there. No, I'm working with the field names. I have those field names in front of me. The tables are in front of me. So that is how I know what field names to use. Now this is from. And remember, it's two tables. So it's going to be TBL employees. And I'm going to use E. I'm going to use an alias and TBL payments. And I'm going to use a P. Right, so select from. The minute I know I'm extracting from two tables, you must bring in your join. So don't even bother about anything else. Put in your join. So your join is on employee number. So it's E dot, and the field is called employee number. Employee number equals P dot employee number. Okay, so I've 6-mark question. I've got more than 50% of the marks just by doing that part of it, which was fairly straightforward. But they're saying who were paid on a specific date. So I need a restriction that's going to be on the date that the payment took place. So I'm just going to go back up, right? Where's payment? There we are. There's a field here. There's a field called payment date. And when I look at the table structure, this was a date field. So immediately I know I need to put that within a hash when I'm working with a date. So we're going to say where, and we had our join. And I'm putting in a second condition. And the payment date, the field is called payment date. So it has to be on this 2017-01-17. So the payment date must equal to, and because it's a date field, you put in your hash. So it's 2017/01/17. 01/17, and we put in a hash. There we are. 6 marks. 6 marks for the taking, provided you know your rules. The first rule you needed to know is how to create and set up your join, because I'm pulling information from 2 tables. That's in one table, that's in another table. So because I'm working with 2 tables, you have to bring in your join. And then the second part is just a restriction. And because it's a date field, I know I need to put that between a hash. Guys, I really, really hope you all got that one right. Let's look at 2.1.4. Now here they say delete. Okay, so we're deleting, we're not displaying. We're doing a delete statement that's coming in here. So delete the record with the payment number. So payment number is in TBL payments. So let's put in our delete statement. Delete from TBL payments. Okay, that's going to delete everything. Where? And what's my restriction? They're telling us it has to be for payment number. Now, what's the field called? If I look at my table, the field is called payment number, like this, no spaces, payment number equals 110. 3 marks for a simple delete. You should not be getting that one wrong. Okay, now we're going to 2.1.5. And this I thought was tricky, right? And there's 8 marks. There's 8 marks. So we can get 8 marks, but let's say, you know what, I've forgotten some of my stuff. I don't remember. At least let's extract information from here to get as many marks as possible. So what are they telling us? They're telling us the net salary of an employee is calculated by subtracting the deductions and the gross salary. The deductions and the gross salary. Okay, there it is here. So we need to subtract gross salary minus deductions. Right, that's how you get the net salary. So these are 2 fields that are in our table. Right. So now they want us to calculate and display. Okay, that tells me I'm writing a select statement. And it also tells me I need to do a calculation somewhere around. The total amount that the restaurant has paid towards net salaries per month. Sure, per month. Display the months using the field name dat. Okay, I can see that. That's just an alias. I'm not concerned about that. And display the calculated amount. See, there's a calculated field, and that should be total amount paid. So there's a lot of it. Format that is currency. Let's not worry about any of that. If I just look at the data, if I just look at what I need to obtain, okay? And I want to further isolate it. Let me just try to work with this part here only, right? So I'm going to try multiple versions of this. So the first version I'm going to say, which is select, and they said I want to work out a calculation which was gross minus deductions. So that's my calculation. So it is gross salary minus deductions. The field is called deductions. So that's my calculated field. So select that from TBL payments. As a worst case, just a worst case, I had no idea what to do. At least you should come to this point, because they tell us the calculation is the gross minus deductions from that table, and you'll pick up a mark, and you know, if they're generous, you could pick up half a mark or 1 mark, 2 marks for just having that bit. taking it a little further, they tell us that calculate and display the total amount. You want the total amount. So we're summing up here that the restaurant has paid towards net salaries per month. We want the total amount that they've paid per month. Now, how do I get the total amount? Well, I know if I use the aggregate function sum. So sum is going to give me the total amount. So I've been able to improve that a little. So I'm saying select sum of gross salary minus deductions. So it's going to sum up all of these. And they also tell us in the end to format the amount as currency. Well, that's easy. Let me go into a second version now. So my second version is going to be select. Okay, let's bring in my format. Right, and here I'm going to say I want to find the sum. Remember, format has two parameters. I want the sum of gross salary minus deductions, comma, and I want this as currency. Okay. And I'm going to close my bracket from TBL payment. So immediately I'm starting to accumulate more marks. Okay, I am getting the total and I'm doing a format on it. All of that is going to carry marks in terms of the solution that we need to come up with. So I've pretty much got this this column sorted out, but now they want the month number, So that it has to strike you, the month number, there's a function called month. And I can get the month number from the date. There's a date field that's called payment date. So now I'm going to go into a third version of writing this solution, and I'm going to try to get the first field sorted out. So now I'm going to say select. Okay, and I want the month. I want the month in payment. In payment date, that's the field. Okay. And oh, there's some aliases we need to use. So I'm going to say as, and what's it? Month num, comma, and then I'm going to have that whole format. Then I'm going to have that entire format that I got in the line above with currency. Right, and then I'm going to say from my table TBL payment. So that's looking pretty decent. Calculate and display the total amount that the restaurant has paid towards net salaries per month. Now this per month has to tell you something. Per month means we want to create groups. So you need to do a group by, and you want to group it by the month on payment date. So that is how you were expected to write the solution. I just realized there's one thing that's missing. I needed an alias for this format. So after you did this format, you should have had as, and you should have put in your alias. So your answer here is select month payment date, select month payment date as month num, there's a comma because now I want the second field. Format, let's look at this. Format, sum of gross salary minus deductions, close bracket, comma, currency, close bracket, as, and put in total amount paid, from TBL payment, and then you want to group by month payment date to give it to you per month. Delphi. Let me show you the code. So this is all that you would be expected to write in your Delphi code. You're expected to just fill in that one line. Select star from TBL employees, order by surname. That was 2.1.1. 2.1.2, the double condition. Okay. And be careful when you're splitting, dropping lines. I got a plus and then I'm moving on to a new line. You see these spaces here. The spaces, I'm taking out that space and I'm taking out this space. If you have your statement written like that, that's going to be problematic because the where is going to come right next to TBL employees. They're going to be seen as one word, TBL employees where. And it's not going to be able to differentiate between the table name and the where. And that's going to be problematic. So if you're splitting over two lines, make sure you put in a space here so that there's a space by TBL employees and the where. Okay, there's your next one where you're extracting from two tables. There's the join. That's the join. And this is the condition for your date. All right. The delete was straightforward. The delete. And finally, the one we just discussed, select month as that, format, find the sum of gross minus that, formatted as currency. And I've got an alias, total amount paid, from TBL payment, group by payment date. Just a quick run, and then alphabetical list. There it is. Right, it's in order of the surname. Here, remember, you wanted children greater than 3, I think it was. Employees paid on a selected date, extracting from two tables. Delete. Database is changed. It's done the delete. 110 is no longer there. It's deleted. And then total salaries, month number, and total amount paid. And that's the information. Okay.